football. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is the official post-fight review for Zhilei versus Joe Joyce 2, the rematch, and the result of the fight is a Zhilei third round stoppage demolition job. It ain't gonna be revenge. It is, in fact, repeat. So let's talk about it. A lot was made of this fight because, going into the first fight, Joe Joyce was in a great run of form and was building up a pretty nice resume, in the division. A lot of people looking at Joe Joyce as a guy that could become or challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world and be a threat. And then Zhang really, hate to say it, all right, but we gotta call a spade a spade. Zhang really exposed some of the chinks in the Joe Joyce armor. And Joyce in that first fight couldn't get away from the left hand. Now, the question was, in the second fight, this fight, what kind of adjustments was Joe Joyce and his renowned coach Ismail Salas gonna make? My thing is, the better question probably is, what changes could they really make? I mean, Joe Joyce is 38, been an amateur for a long time. He's had, well over, 15, 16 fights in the pros. He kind of is what he is. But in this fight, there's not a lot to dissect. I mean, the first round, Joe was circling to his left a lot, trying to do what he could to take the left hand away from Zhang. And, basically any game plan he had, or any semblance of a game plan he had, it went out the window in the second round the minute he got touched with that first left hand. And he looked like he didn't want to be in there. He looked confused. He looked petrified. And he looked like a fighter that was very much in survival mode. Now, third round, Zhang threw this left hand to the body. And when he threw the left hand to the body, he got Joe Joyce to reach over the top with the right hand. But Zhang is actually a faster fighter than Joe. So when Joyce went to reach with the right hand, Zhang came across the right hook and just put him out face first. And you knew once he landed that punch, and you saw how Joe Joyce went tumbling down to the floor, you knew that was going to be all she wrote for the Juggernaut. And listen, Zhang talked a big game before this press conference. Before the fight took place at the press conference, he talked a big game. He said, "I'm going to end your career." And I don't know if Joe Joyce has any plans to continue boxing, but you got to at least think realistically that's probably going to be the end of his run towards the world championship of the world in the heavyweight division. He's 38 years old. We know that he's got a lot of wear and tear on the body. He's been in a lot of wars. His best attribute in a lot of these fights was his durability, his chin, which was seemingly made out of granite. He had a lot of heart, but as we've heard in the movies before, as they've said in the great movie Get Rich or Die Trying, heart will get you killed. And his heart and his chin, it's been cracked enough, and I think Big Bang Zhang has effectively ruined the career of Joe Joyce. So it's unfortunate because, man, he wasn't here for a long time, but he was damn sure here for a good time. So I think Joe Joyce could still be involved in some good fights in the heavyweight division. But as far as him fighting like your Usyks and any of those kind of guys, the top guys, the heavyweight champions, I don't think he's really got anything for those kind of guys. It's just straight up. And I'm not turning on him. It's just that, when you're 38 and you take these kind of beatings from a guy who can punch like Zhang can punch, you're not going to be the same. And that's just reality. Now, let's talk about Zhang and where he goes from here because, I want to talk about this because boxing for a long time has been starving for a Chinese superstar. And when I say boxing, I don't mean the boxing fans. I mean the boxing industry and the promoters. They have been starving for a Chinese fighter to break through for the longest time. That's why Bob Arum used to have a lot of shows for Top Rank out in Macau, China. That's why when Zhu Can was a featherweight champion, they invested money in Zhu Can. That's why Zhao Shiming, the former the Olympian, the gold medalist, a lot of money was put behind him. But none of the Chinese fighters could really crack or break through. Now Zhang, he got a kind of a late start to his pro career, and there was a lot of hype on him coming in, and then things just couldn't really get off the ground. Things couldn't get, moving and shaking the way you would have wanted it to for Zhang. But, you look at him now at his advanced age of 40 years old, and this guy's showing you, man, that just because you're 40 years old, it doesn't mean life is over. Life just begins at 40. He's fit at 40, and you look at what he's done over the last couple of years. I mean, beating Joe Joyce twice has really done a lot for his career. And depending on who you talk to, a lot of people thought, I would say the majority of people thought he beat Phil Hrgovic. I'm not one of them. I hold firm to the fact that Hrgovic beat Zhang by 1 point. I thought Zhang gave away and pissed away the second half of the fight. But if he would have got the decision that fight, I wouldn't have been angry about it because it was that close of a fight. But he didn't, and it is what it is. I'd like to see them fight at some point one day in a rematch, because I think that was more of an aberration and a bad night for Hrgovic more so than it was a great fight from Zhang. I think Hrgovic would beat the brakes off Zhang in the rematch, and I'd love to see it. But both guys, I feel, they're in a part of their careers where they got bigger things to fry. Hrgovic is going to be probably fighting Usyk for the heavyweight championship of the world next to become unified champion. I think he's going to win that fight. Zhang, I think, and he called out Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury beats Francis Ngannou, which I think he should, because, if he loses to Francis Ngannou, then Tyson Fury is a joke. I think this is a fight that Tyson Fury will look into. A lot of people think that Tyson Fury is going to make excuses to not fight Zhang. I think you're wrong. I think Tyson Fury would fight Zhang because from a business standpoint, money-wise, it makes a lot of sense. To have the backing of the whole country of China, which is like 1.5 billion people, potentially, that's going to be a lot for Fury to turn down. And I would be led to believe that the promoters and Top Rank and just all the fine folks involved in the boxing industry, I'll be led to believe that they will put the money up for that fight, and both fighters will be paid nicely. And then when we look at the momentum Zhang's had, from the Hrgovic fight and both Joyce fights, I would venture to say there's probably no heavyweight in the division right now with more momentum than him, with the fans and even just in the ring. So it makes a lot of sense, and it takes a lot of box for Fury. So I think that's probably the fight we're gonna get. If you're thinking Fury's gonna fight Usyk next, that's not gonna happen. Usyk will probably fight Hrgovic. That'll free up Fury to fight Zhang, and I think that's the fight more than likely we're gonna get. And that's a fight I feel like probably we should get. If Hrgovic is gonna fight Usyk, then Zhang versus Fury is a good fight. I think Fury. Personally, I think Fury will beat Zhang. I think Fury's just too clever for Zhang, and I think Zhang's gas tank isn't quite good enough to beat a guy like Fury. But if Fury doesn't take him seriously and doesn't live the life or doesn't come in shape, Zhang could put him out. Fury's not exactly George Chuvalo. We've seen him get dropped by lesser punchers in the past than a Zhang or even a Wilder. So that to me is a really good fight, and I know it'll generate a lot of attention because, again, I don't think boxing's ever had this before. Right now we're entering into some uncharted territories, ladies and gentlemen, where we have a fighter that is becoming a star from China. Ain't that something? And China has a big population, big economy, a lot of attention. That fight will create a lot of new boxing fans, and that fight will definitely be good for the boxing industry. So if it's good for the boxing industry and the dollars make sense and politically it can be made, then it will be made. So I know Zhang said that he wants to shut up Tyson Fury's big mouth. He doesn't like the fact that he's talking so much. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, congratulations to him. Definitely one of the knockout of the year candidates. I think it's good that Zhang's active and fighting top guys. He's definitely one of the best fighters in the world today. And you gotta be kicking yourself if you're Anthony Joshua, because I remember Anthony Joshua had this fight presented to him many years ago, and he kind of balked and scoffed at it. And now look at where Zhang is at, And I don't think AJ would fight him now because that fight's too risky. And we know Eddie Hearn wouldn't want to put AJ in there with a guy like Zhang because he wouldn't put AJ in there with anybody semi-dangerous. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Zhang's performance? Is this Joe Joyce's swan song? Is he done? Is this his last hurrah at the top level of heavyweight boxing? And who do you want to see Zhang fight next? Do you want to see him fight Fury? How do you think he does in the Fury fight? And let me know what you guys think. Personally, I want to see the Hrgovic rematch because I think Hrgovic will beat him and beat him quite easily. But that's just me. But it's his day. He's fun to watch, and he's definitely worth our time and our attention. That Big Bang Zhang. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding, dang it. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.